Right, guys, welcome back. This is the Above Average FPL podcast. My name's Adam, and as always, I'm joined by Baker. How you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Feeling good? Feeling full?
Feeling,
Feeling
feeling
festive?
good. Nice hat, mate.
Thanks, mate. Thanks, mate.
An above average hat.
It's cold, man. It's cold up here.
How cold is it?
It's about, I was out earlier with the kids. It's about 4 degrees, something like that.
Oh,
2 degrees.
It's been so mild here, but just damn windy. I was golfing yesterday, like 50-mile-an-hour winds on a hill. It was tough. But yeah, ready to go again.
Yeah, I mean, like, I've got, like, I know, look, you moaned at me after the last pod. You were like, mate, when you changed the colour behind you, like you went blue or something. I went blue. I can't remember what it was. And you were like, it annoyed me, actually. You could keep the green vibes going, and that's what we're doing. 4 greens in a row.
Both of us.
Both of us 4 greens in a row. So how does that, not that we talk about rank, but how does that put you up? How does that put you rank wise?
I don't know. I'm inside the top 300k now.
That's good.
That's good. Yeah, it's much better. I do think there's a lot that Haaland out, obviously, gets rid of, creates decisions, doesn't it? And then captain has basically been effectively null and void for the last few weeks.
Yeah, it feels like it.
Which I then think plays into how's the rest of your squad. Like it's harder to get away with having 4 or 5 pretty average picks if your captain fails.
Yeah.
And I think most of us have had good squads for a long time. But where you've got a good squad, a good 11, if the captain fails and everyone's captain fails and there's no Haaland around, I think it plays into the more engaged managers. So I think in general, engaged managers have done really well at this period. And I think that's very good news. And I think, AFCON coming up and I think that's just going to continue.
Hopefully. Yeah, because, we're going to be the ones with the ears to the ground. I mean, we as a collective, I guess, we probably know more about what goes on than generally like quite a lot of people, like injury wise and things like that, schedule wise. We're just on it as a group.
Yeah, just planning in general, isn't it? Is there's a little bit like we're not turning up Saturday morning just looking at our phones and going,
no,
who's
of
got
course
the green
not.
Fixture? I'll put them in.
No. I also don't know what I'm doing by like game week 28, 29 yet. So I'm not.
Oh God,
I'm not in that.
Yeah, but planning's like looking at the next 2 game weeks, mate. Like more than 1 game week.
Yeah.
We look the other week, like you were laughing to me because a couple of 100,000 people brought in Kudus when you knew he was just about to clear off in a week's time.
That's it.
Like all of those type of things.
They're still bringing in Kudus.
He's even said today that he might not even be able to play this weekend.
I mean, some of the transfers in quite hilarious so far. Have you had a look at some of them?
No.
So
I mean, I imagine Huang has got loads in.
Yeah, 105,000. Kudus 122,000. 163k have already gone. Fuck it, stupid Anne, you come in. And then the obvious ones, right? The obvious ones are the other ones. But Son's had 100k in. Salah's had 75k in.
This is a good time. This is a good time. I expect it to be if you're engaged. So look, if there was ever a time to watch content, that was plug us and do stuff. Now's the time because I think those that are involved in it are doing all right. I know everyone could say, "Oh, content creators are telling us to captain this guy and he blanks, this guy and he blanks." I'm telling you, most people who watch content, they're doing all right at the moment.
This is true.
Doing all right.
This is true. I'm inside the top 3 million, mate.
Boom.
Boom. I mean, it's just been ticking along the last few weeks. Feels good. And what's nice actually this week is that obviously people are scrambling. I said it to you last week. I said, look, I'm so far behind, I'm ahead. And, people are looking like, how do I get Foden in? How do I get Alvarez in? I'm sitting here like, I've got both of them. So what are people going to do next week? And I'm looking at like defender transfers and things like that, trying to prep for, through AFCON. Because AFCON will force our hand, right? In terms of like the 2 midfielders going to go primarily. Yes. So they're easy transfers, right? So Saka just comes in, etc., etc. Bowen, those 2 basically just come in, right? Saka and Bowen, for me anyway, for people that haven't got them, they just kind of come in. job done, and then you get all the money in the world to take whoever you want, probably Alvarez back up to Haaland, and then away you go. But I'm looking at like who do I want for like the rest of Chelsea's decent fixtures. Brighton are about to hit a decent run of fixtures. You know, do I need to even make a keeper transfer? Like things like that. There's doubles that are going to start appearing very soon.
Yes.
Luton, Brentford, City, Bournemouth. You know, these are all going to start creeping in, and then obviously then the cup, the FA Cup and stuff comes in, and then we've got blanks. So, you know, I feel like I'm in a good position to keep making strides. I feel like I've probably put myself, kind of handicapped myself a little bit, but I'm starting to make moves now, so that's good.
Yeah, but like I say, you're engaged. I think it's enough. I genuinely think it is, and I think it's going to pay as these blanks doubles comes in. It's going to pay as teams come out of AFCON, as much as they go into AFCON, because I think it's going to potentially pay even more for most people, because teams are going to loads of players. People are just going to play wildcard, aren't they? Because they're suddenly going to be like, oh my god, Salah's like nearly 13 million. And I've got a player who's 6 million in his place and nothing in the bank because I spent it on Haaland. Like as much as we play that we've got to get Haaland back in, it's what do you do to get the other guys back in, and how does it work, and all of that stuff. I think as much engagement as we can work over the next month or so is going to be really good for us. And those 2 weeks breaks, I'm sure we'll be knocking on the doors of people that we know, people our friends who are better at the planning than us, to come and have a chat with us about what we do going forward. All good?
All good, mate. All good. So, you know, I guess we just fire straight into the games coming up for this week. Obviously, game week 20. There's some lopsided fixtures here for sure. Some really good home fixtures for a lot of teams. So, I'm particularly looking at obviously Villa, City, Liverpool, good fixture. And attacking wise, I guess West Ham's good fixture, and Spurs is it should be a good fixture. It should be a fun game.
It's predicted to be a very good fixture.
Yeah. So there's a lot going on here. So I guess we're right then in saying like the Foden Alvarez thing is where we need to focus our attention. They're currently predicted to get the expected goals is 3.35. And they expect 61% chance of a clean sheet, which is quite high. Sheffield United only 0.5 and 4% chance of a clean sheet. I mean, that's the game. It's the game.
Yeah, it's like if you've got players in that game, it's very easy for me to say this because I haven't got any players in this game as it stands. But it feels like you have to cap someone from this game. Like it feels like it's very difficult not because they're not huge owned. They'll be decent owned. You know, Alvarez will be well over 50% owned into this week, but Foden won't be. And it's a magical fixture. This feels like the dream, really, for a lot of people. I mean, I think Foden is if he's kind of the one that I just like the most because I like him indefinitely. I like him if De Bruyne's back. I like him if Erling's back. Just like Foden in their team. Alvarez, I think everyone's made up their minds that basically as soon as De Bruyne and Erling's back that
Alvarez makes way.
Yeah, but we don't know that. We just don't know that to be able to say that. He's been so integral to them. I don't know if you saw at the end of the game, but Pep was like really bigging him up, like on the pitch, like really like dancing with him and stuff like that. And you were like, that's big. You know, he's trying to, tell him you're the big boy.
I mean, at the same time, though, he's still relatively young. He still will have played a lot of football. And, City, as always, are going to be firing on all competitions. They're going to be firing in all competitions. So there's no kind of respite for these guys. There's no. If Haaland's back and De Bruyne is back, guess what? There's an opportunity, right? It's definitely an opportunity to rest.
I think
rest him.
The big deal has been Bernardo, because I think Bernardo is like number one on the team sheet. Now, like when Bernardo's on it, he's number one on the team sheet. and he is number 1 on the team sheet at the moment. So what's going on here?
Don't worry. Carry on. Carry on. I'm just doing stuff in the background.
There you go. Yeah, when Banano's number 1 on the team sheet, then everybody else has to fit around it. And if he's going to play one of those forward 4 positions, which it looks like he is, then somebody inevitably makes way. And if Jack's back and if Doku's back, so we've got a bit of a break now. Yeah, does Alvarez keep that place or not? I don't know. I don't think it's the 1 week punt, certainly Alvarez, that a lot of people are sort of suggesting it is. And I think it'll be really difficult if you do bring Alvarez in to take Alvarez out for Erling if you hear that Erling starts and Alvarez starts in 21.
Yeah, I can't see that making sense. Because it's a hit, right, as well, because you're getting that money from Salah.
But a lot of people, if they bring Alvarez in, so your front 3 is Alvarez, Watkins, Solanke, yeah?
Yeah.
And loads of people come this weekend will end up with a front 3 of Alvarez, Watkins, Solanke. So you've got 3 really good options. And then you're like, well, if we get the news that Haaland starts in 21 and we get the news that Alvarez starts in 21, who would you bring out Haaland in for?
Alvarez.
Which is,
I'd still do it.
This is the beauty of this, because you've already got him. So it's not, you haven't got that weird cost thing, have you?
No.
But I think other people need to play that through in their brain of, are they just bringing Alvarez in this week and are really comfortable that if he hat tricks, for example, this weekend, that they then just rip him out? And I think you are, because I think you've played your way through it.
Because I've had him since game week 11.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Definitely helps.
But I think those that haven't had him, when they bring him in, especially because he'll probably go up like 0.2 million as well, they'll be like, oh, what do I do now? So it's almost like you've got to try and play that through in your brain a little bit of how do you make those moves? And you've also got to think through the other stuff about what are your other problems because of AFCON, because of injuries and all that stuff. But I think, so where are you on the 2 of them? Let me ask you that question. Alvarez and Foden.
In terms of captaincy?
Yeah.
I think I'm leaning more towards Julian. Probably because he's on penalties. Probably helps.
And corners.
And stuff. And free kicks. Like his routes to goal are good. And he, they almost, to be fair, they almost linked up as well.
Yeah.
Foden had one that he just poked wide. He could have had an assist for Mateus Nunes in the first half, and then followed it up with a shot himself. He did a lot against Everton. Like he
would have had the assist for the one at the post as well, didn't he? The late banger from Foden at the post was his touch.
That was him as well. Yeah, because he was on the edge of the box, laid it off for him. Oh, that would have been like dreamland.
So many routes. Routes.
There's loads of routes.
I just think if you've got Alvarez, you've got to cap him this week. And maybe it's enough that it's worth a transfer. So, do you know what I mean? Like because,
like, where else would you cap though? Like, are we saying that
you can cap any of these though, mate?
You say Watkins? Watkins feels like a better cap this week than he did last week.
Yeah, Watkins against Burnley is fantastic. I didn't know. I saw.
Do we have to go back to this? Do we have to go back to this Sheffield United low block thing, or do we think City will just run that over?
I think I always say the same thing on low blocks, mate. Everything's fine until you get punched in the mouth. It's the Tyson.
Yeah.
Like it'll work until it doesn't work. And if you get punched in the mouth, it's 7.
Yeah, depends. Yeah, exactly. Depends on when you get punched, right? If you get punched in the 75th minute, then you've probably got away with it.
Yeah. You get punched
in 10
minutes.
In 10 minutes, and then you're done. Yeah, it's Liverpool, Bournemouth.
We know what they're going to do, but whether they can do it is the matter, and you have to back that the chances are they don't do it.
There's a
Yeah,
lot of Bernardo talk in the chat as well. Like,
yeah.
is
I think it's brilliant, but I think it's brilliant. I think the player's brilliant. I think when he's on it, he's so important. But I do think that he's so important that as soon as Champions League comes around again, they'll rest him a bit more because they'll hold him for the most perfect games for him.
I weirdly thought these. I mean, I know he got the points against Everton. I weirdly thought he slowed them down. Like, particularly in the first half, he slowed down. He slowed things down quite a lot, which is kind of the player he is, I
it's
guess. He's very intricate and very
yeah.
careful about what he does. And
Well, do you not think when you're watching them, it's a bit like watching five when you're playing five aside and you've got a guy who used to be a pro, and then you've got a
yeah,
load of 18-year-old kids
that's
that are
it.
fantastic, and
That's
you've
it.
got that one guy, and it's like it all
Genuinely had
slows
that.
down when he gets it.
Even works like 11 aside, mate. You did that in KL, like in the vets stuff. We had some
Yeah,
ex pros in there, and you just the whole game just came to a standstill when they had the ball.
yeah, but it's
Yeah,
class,
but
and
it's
you're all
class.
like, yeah, he's good.
But is that good for points? I
Um,
guess it is. I mean, like Everton were quite open. That's the only thing. I mean, the thing is, like, the good thing about Bernardo is, the tight space passing. Like, he's just
yeah,
ridiculous at it.
it's just class. Um, yeah, Villa, where we said, you sent a link to me earlier about the Dina injury.
Yeah.
And if you click on that link um,
Um,
that you sent, we'll retweet or something, but the comments were really negative from Villa fans about this game. They were like, we'll take a draw. I was like, bloody hell, Dina's out, and that's the end of the world. But yeah, it feels a bit like they're a little bit more, they're not as bullish as they would have been, say, a month ago. Um,
that must just be a system thing then, because like Moreno's not a worse player than Dina.
no,
Like,
I don't understand it.
like
But
literally
it's
brought
probably
him in
just
to replace him, didn't he? Didn't
it's
Gerard bring him
probably
in to
just
replace him? Ridiculous.
enough things that are out there that Powell's probably not fit as well.
Isn't it? Wasn't it?
Um,
Isn't it Danny though that says beware of fans?
yeah,
Yeah.
he does say we're fans. And I totally agree. Totally agree. So Watkins is out there. Good fixture. I wouldn't cap an Arsenal player against Fulham.
No.
I don't think that's an option. Son, do you
I,
think there's any chance that he plays Brian Hill left wing and plays Son at 9?
and no Richarlison, maybe, but we still need. Do you think we're just going to get Lo Celso just come in for Kulusevski?
I think he has to. I think he has to. I think he has to do that.
I just I can't see a world where we are successful in a football game with Brian Hill on the pitch.
Mate, that last, do you not think that he was, I
No,
thought, so
no, I'm
he
going to
was the best
disagree.
player on that pitch for that last 20 minutes of the
He was
game.
not. He kept running into corners and kept trying something, and then it just bounced off him, and then you get to the point where he's trying his press, and I said this on Twitter. It looks like he's the kid that gets bullied because his ball's been taken away by the kids in secondary school, and he's running around in circles trying to playing piggy in the middle with him.
Down the pitch. He gets us down the pitch. He gets like when he's on our pitch, we get down it. He's frustrating, but we get down it. Like he's almost like Saint Maximin starts like Styles. It's not right, but we get down the pitch.
You couldn't have picked two complete opposite types of player. I mean, like in terms of like body shape.
But all he wants to do is get down the pitch. Like he carries it, he goes, we move. Like whereas Son at left wing's like, come on, mate. He just wants to be in the box. He doesn't really want to be down. He doesn't want to be down that wing.
He's enjoying. Yeah, I know he's enjoying himself at 9, and hey, he might. He might.
You have to. There are two massive things about Richarlison that I hated last night. One's the timing of his runs, right? Because all you do is think if Son is playing 9, that's 2 goals. That's 2 goals. And
Son gets
any other
quite
finish,
a bit as well.
he gets it. But he's still more intelligent on his runs than Richarlison is. Richarlison is just stupid on runs. But I think the thing that annoys Ange the most on Richarlison is the pressing of the keeper. But Son is phenomenal at pressing the keeper. And Richarlison's terrible.
Yeah,
I always used
so
to think
bad.
at Everton, he was quite good at it, like the defensive work and stuff. But he is awful at pressing the keeper. Steele was having all sorts of problems. and all you had to do was press him a little bit further. But Richie didn't do it, and I genuinely think that one of the reasons why he came off was that was the pressing more than the booking and more than the but that probably did have a bit as well. I wouldn't say it was the offside goals. I wouldn't say it was the bad finishing. I would say firstly it was pressing, and secondly I'd say it was the fact that he was on a booking and we were 3-0 down. And we couldn't afford another red card.
No.
But yeah, if I knew that Son was going to play 9, Son would be up there for me. Probably over Salah for me. But for me as a man without Alvarez at the moment, I just think I have to go against tired Newcastle and be Salah.
Okay.
There's been some fun
games. Is this not one of the longest rests that Newcastle have had?
Oh, it is. It is. But they're shit.
Yeah. Okay.
Like they're crap.
And they're terrible away as well. They're worse away. I know we put a lot of emphasis on home away.
Sorry, watch this, but like we're all secretly enjoying the Eddie Howe's in the job right now. Everyone's like, you've got Eddie Howe. Yes. Like
he's got a Mark Hughes feel about it.
Yeah. He's not the man to get you out.
Do a bit. He's not the guy that's gonna win you the league.
He ain't the man to get out there. But yeah. So Mo before he goes off to AFCON. You've got the stories, haven't you? Mo before he goes off to AFCON, and Son before he goes off to Asia Cup. Both the big boys to their team. Do they sign off with a big one? I don't know. Maybe. I'll see how I feel on those ones. But yeah. But I can't deny that if I had Alvarez, it would just be Alvarez. And that's what I've got to wrestle with.
Fair enough.
Anything else? Any other big things?
I don't know. Obviously, we're all going to be like next week. I don't even think we really need to talk about next week because, as I said earlier, like the money just kind of appears. The transfers kind of just make sense. If you haven't got Bowen, you get Bowen. If you haven't got Saka, you get Saka. If you haven't got, I don't know, you're going to need to find more players. Like Odegaard will be an option, definitely. Double Arsenal midfield. Although some people will be on double. Some people are already on double Arsenal defence, which will cause a problem there. What are you thinking?
The fun of next week as well is obviously, I don't think, as much as I've just said about Liverpool home to Newcastle, I think you can go at it. Newcastle at home to City in 2 weeks' time. Like, that's the game now. We're looking at bringing Haaland back. It's an interesting one. I'm not sure he's the best captain option in the first week back. It's like, do you need to get him back straight away?
Where do you spend the money then? Because, like, but literally, you just keep the money.
Burnley.
Yeah,
you definitely want him for Burnley. But the two players that everyone's got to address next week is Son and Salah. So even if I can see a lot of people not taking on the -4 next week.
Or just bench one of them, right? Because as you said, like lots of people are going to be sitting with an Alvarez, Solanke, Watkins front line, and almost everyone has a 5-man midfield. Right?
Yeah.
So everyone's got a Gordon, a Palmer, a combination of both, a He-Chan. Although some people are going to have to get rid of him, aren't they, actually? Yeah. So we've got these midfield, this full midfield. So benching one of them doesn't hurt.
Personally, for me, I want to try and keep Son next week because it opens the door for Kev versus Burnley in 22 on a straight move.
Okay.
If you know De Bruyne's playing home to Burnley, you want him.
A week early, maybe.
In 22. Sorry, 22.
Okay.
If he plays against Newcastle, and then you've got him.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Fine.
You want him.
Fine.
You want him because effectively, it sounds like De Bruyne is ahead of Haaland by the terms of how they're training.
Yeah, it does sound like it at the moment. People are reminding us that Tony's back soon.
Yeah. We should ask a question on wildcard. We're not on it.
I have no idea when I'm going to play it at this
I
time.
d- and I meant for the people that have still got it for this one, the Game Week 20 ones.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, but then, I
So
mean,
anyone that's got it for Game Week 20, would you put Salah and Son in your Game Week 20 wildcard?
uh, I wouldn't. I don't know. Maybe, nah. I'm the sort of person that would book one. So I'd probably have one and not the other.
Hmm.
And I'd probably have Salah, not Son.
Interesting.
Probably. It's difficult though. I mean, it makes sense.
So
It makes sense. It's such a long. It's not really a long horizon. I mean, I guess you can just set yourself up for the next few weeks anyway. But I don't know. I'd be on like double Brighton, double Chelsea.
yeah, it's
I'd be
tough,
doing
isn't it?
doing all this sort of stuff, and Foden, Alvarez, obviously. I mean, you could even just bring in Haaland, right? You just forego everything. You just have Haaland there.
I would have. I
You
would
just have him.
probably.
You maybe just
I'll
have
probably take the
Haaland.
risk.
You probably just have Haaland and Foden again. Or
Yeah,
even that's hard, to be honest, because as you say, you might want Kev.
it's tough, isn't it? Well, there's loads of people out there that have done wildcard videos. So if you're on wildcard, sorry, we're not helping you because we don't want you to beat us.
Well, yeah,
Terrible, terrible people.
we were going to talk about it, but we can't. So
It's tough, and we ain't got a lot of time because this video is dead in 12 hours. So
should,
yeah,
should we go to what we're doing then?
let's go to what we're doing.
Go on. We'll start with me then for now. So at the moment, I've got Areola in goal, Porro, Trent, Gabriel at the back, Salah, Foden, Palmer, Son, Solanke, Watkins, Alvarez cap with Dubravka, Gordon, Anderson, and Kabore on the bench. Got one free transfer, 3.3 million in the bank. Number of things I could do. I could move Gordon to either Odegaard or Saka or Bowen. Any one of those three, really straightforward. I could do Anderson or Kabore to Kabore probably because he's going off to AFCON, to Doughty, Gusto. I could do that kind of move, which would be really easy. They're kind of the two. I could do a Stupinan maybe. I could just roll. I mean, like look at that 11. Do I really need to touch it? Like I feel like I don't need to do anything. Anything like the Gordon move feels unnecessary just because I probably just don't need to do it.
Yeah, I think the
And
whole world, mate, in this chat's about to say roll because I would roll.
yeah,
like that's a roll. That's a roll. You've got a fourth plan defender. You've got a good fifth plan midfield. You've got a horrendous bench decision if you were to bring someone in for Gordon.
yes. So he's like, yeah. So that's kind of like the second thing I'm thinking of. Well, yeah, that's at the back of my mind. Like that is at the far back, like last thing. The Kabore to whoever decision would be probably more long term thinking, doubles and stuff coming up.
Is that partly though as well because you don't necessarily trust Anderson as much anymore?
Don't really trust Palace.
Yeah.
Don't really trust Palace anymore. Like Anderson felt like a good pick when he was doing all the good bonus stuff, and I guess the goals helped. Like the goal against United obviously helped, and he scored on the first day of the season. And you thought, well, maybe he's the guy that is going to get on the end of these crosses, set pieces, and stuff like that. Eze's back, Elise's back, everything's going to look great. And these guys have been back for a few weeks now, and his numbers aren't fantastic.
But he does have a home game this week, and so therefore he's okay this week.
We can see what he does.
Yeah, but also just give yourself a week for the game to develop. Like if we get, you mentioned Doughty there, like if we get potentially an announcement on the Luton double game week over the next 2 weeks, then you're like, well, Doughty's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one for you. As opposed to do it now, and then it turns out it gets announced in 28, and now you've got a Luton defender sitting there.
Like, yeah, but it's a Luton defender, so like it's not really. It's only ever going to be used for the as good as Doughty is. He's only ever going to be used for the double.
Yeah, but what you don't want is if you had an injury to one of your defenders, for example, like you don't have to just desperate, I've got to rip them out and do these things and suddenly take hits for defenders and stuff. So I do think you always want a solid one that you can play. I just think Anderson's like, man, it just doesn't look like you need to cause yourself a problem when you've got people who want this team on free hit, mate. This is as perfect can be.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, yeah, it's a pretty solid roll.
You bet.
I will always overthink it, so that's fine. That's just me.
I'm not going to say it. I went to say it, but I'm not saying it. But you know, the color that sits behind you, it's staying on, mate.
Staying on.
It's staying on. It's staying on, mate. It's fantastic.
Go on in. Talk us through yours.
I hate having 2 free transfers. I don't have it very often. It's the first time since. So obviously you roll in game week 1 because you spend all summer thinking about it. I haven't had it since. I haven't had 2 frees to play with since. And I'm almost certainly going to have 2 frees into the next one because I do think it's really important. But my team, I've got Areola over Dubravka. We're sort of the same at the back, but I've got Saliba, you've got Gabriel, but Saliba, Trent, and Porro. Bowen, Saka, Salah currently with the armband, Son, Palmer, and then I've got Solanke and Watkins up front.
So it's Saka and Bowen versus Julian and Foden, right?
Is it? Is that what it is?
It is, yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah. I'd rather have yours, but I don't mind mine. But that's it, innit? Like, that's it. You're transferring. If you're going to do moves this week, you're doing good players. You're doing good players for good players. I'm not burning. I'm definitely not burning because I have no bench.
Yeah.
I've got 2 defenders that don't play. So Kabore is definitely missing this week. He hasn't got a flag on him, but he will have, if not now. And then he's got Afcon.
He have a flag? He's got a flag on mine.
Oh, probably hadn't reset it. You know, my app, if I don't like force close it, doesn't seem to put flags on. I quite like doing that. Then leave it open. Yeah. So I've got a problem with Kabore and Simicast. Let me ask you this question: if you were going to transfer one, do you transfer Simicast because he costs more? He's dropping in value. He's already dropped last night. He'll drop again. And we know Robertson's coming back. Or do you transfer at Kabore because you know he's definitely not back for ages? I think it's got to be Simicast, isn't it? Because hopefully,
depends. Are you ever going to consider going to Robertson or Diaz or Jota or something like that in the next few weeks? Alisson?
Yeah, I might. Yes, good point. So Jota is on my mind.
You've got it. Yeah, I knew Jota would be on your mind.
You know, I like Jota. I love Jota. So Simicast
has got to be the one.
Yeah, I've assumed all week I'm taking Simicast out, but I suddenly looked at it. I was like, well, maybe I should take Kabore out. But then the Luton double might also be by the time he's back. So Simicast, the obvious move is take Simicast out, and I would, if I was doing it this week, I would go Gusto. In the week, getting bonus with out of clean. I like defenders that get bonuses without cleans. That's my forte. So he fits it 4.1, gives me an extra 500,000, and then I'll have 2 free transfers and 3 million in the bank next week, and then I feel really comfortable.
I assume you bench him though.
I'd bench him.
Okay.
I absolutely hate the idea that I make a transfer and bench him. It just feels like you've not bothered.
Well,
do you know what I mean? And it feels like you've not bothered in a week where there's really bloody good fixtures.
Yeah.
So the other option is do Archer to Alvarez. Got the money, got like 0.1 wiggle room, but I could do Archer to Alvarez. Yeah. I'd need to bench someone. So I'd need to either bench probably Solanke or Palmer. Sadly, I'd probably bench Palmer in that sense over Solanke.
Okay.
Difficult, but one of those two. And then I'd captain Alvarez. And it feels like a monumental. So you're changing captain and you're benching someone. So it's when you talk about the risk-free rewards, if it pays, then the reward is fantastic. Like it is. But there are two ways in which it fails.
Yeah.
So it fails because the benched player returns, and it potentially fails because your captain option returns. And so there's like double chance that it's not as good as you think it is.
Yeah.
It's an all-in strategy. And when you've helped me a little bit on here today, where you've said probably take Alvarez out, and I'm like, I think my brain would say sunk cost because I've just transferred him in. Don't transfer him straight out again. And therefore I'm just probably going to have to let you and all the other Alvarez owners absolutely annihilate it this week and go, you can't win them all.
Yeah.
And I hate it. I hate it because I genuinely think Alvarez is the best option this week. But I think if I'm thinking longer term, and I am trying to think longer term regularly, then Simicast to Gusto gives me, and potentially Gusto ends up being my fifth defender anyway. Because I might, if Stupinan comes in, I could potentially do Kabore to Stupinan or something like that. Potentially, if I want to, I can always go up after. But that having 3 million in the bank means I've got a little bit more money. So at the moment, if I went, say, Archer to Haaland and Salah down, I've only got 6.0 currently on a 2-move thing. If I get an extra 500,000, I've got 6.5. So opens up players like Rose, for example, Bernardo, if I think that he's my midfielder to just tick around and do stuff. They're just suddenly a few more players that you're playing with if I want to go to that space.
Yep.
Not far off. Not far off if I wanted to do Richarlison. But what I'd do is if I wanted to Richarlison, I'd do it in a -4 and I'd take Salah out too.
Okay.
But an extra 500,000 feels like it's good for me. So Dole move probably is the way of doing Simicast to Gusto. Looks like Gusto is going to go up tonight. So I probably will do it if I'm going to do that later. Because I already lost 0.1 on Simicast yesterday. Not that I'm bitter. You just couldn't do it before you had any Haaland news, though, could you?
No. No.
You had to wait. That's where I'm at.
We're good.
So we're going to be here again. When? When are we going to be back?
I don't know. Hold on. Do I still have the thing? Not until like, what's that? 1, 2, 3. 3rd? When's that? Is this a long game week? Yeah, it is. It's kind of a long game week. Saturday through to Tuesday.
Wow.
And then there's no game until the 13th of January. So there's a 10-day gap because of FA Cup. So
this is last part of the year.
Last part of the year.
It's been amazing. What 2023, mate?
It's been let me pull out some numbers just for fun. Like we've basically finished. We've basically finished now. Let's have a look at
own indulgement. Is that what you're saying?
This is absolutely
indulge ourselves.
Of course, and just thank everyone else
Bathe in it.
Thank everyone for supporting us this year. It's been amazing. Just want to look at what is it? So I don't think I can see how many pods we've done. I don't think. I can't think, but we've
Do we get Sunday night off?
We get Sunday night off, and we've had 456,000 views in 2023. 3,500, 3.4k subs. Thank you to everyone. That's nuts, to be quite honest.
It's absolutely nuts.
It's just insane.
For those listening, like we still remember when we got excited because we had 100 downloads.
That was a monumental moment. That was
when we got 100 downloads on a pod. We were like, yes.
And that's it, though. But that's it. It's all about the little milestones, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, like we didn't even think anyone was going to listen to us to start with.
No.
And now here I am with a hat.
I'm drinking out of a glass that's got our logo on.
We've had
Off-
pictures
off a
from
beer mat.
of a beer.
That's-
We've had pictures from everyone that's been like on
Oh,
Christmas
mate, the
Day and
Christmas
stuff like
pictures.
that. We've got poker chips. We've got mugs. We've got yeah.
I tell you what, we give away some stuff, boys.
I don't think I want to share how much I spent just on the postage in the last 2 months. It's been
But we don't
extortionate.
mind.
No, it's
The
fine.
idea that was that two mates had a chat, talked about football. So now we have more than two mates chatting, talking about football in that you all join us and we get to chat with it. So we want to give stuff away because it's fun.
If anyone's hanging around and is on that golf, wants to be part of the golf day or is part of the golf day, and has wondered why they haven't had an email for a while, it's because kind of Christmas just came in and just kind of took time. You know, it's still something that we are going to do next year, and we will get on that. But it has kind of taken a back seat with Christmas, family, and work and stuff like that. So that will happen. But you know, outside of that, thank you again. 2023 nuts has been nuts. Make sure you like the video, hit subscribe, and good luck for game week 20, I guess.
Good luck, mate.
Cheers, man.
See you later.